What's up guys? I just wanted to throw a little disclaimer before I start the video that I in no way am trying to start rumors or anything. So I filmed this video over a month ago and I really contemplated even uploading it because I didn't want people getting mad at me for like starting rumors or like clickbaiting the band. But I ended up seeing other people have the same theory as me. There's actually like a whole subreddit about it, and then I also found something on Instagram that I'm going to share with you. So just watch all the way till the end. Okay, I'll put the time here if you're too lazy to watch through this 16-minute video. But yeah, so let's just go to the rest of the video. What is up guys? Welcome back to this channel. It has been, I was gonna say a minute, but it's actually been an entire month. I'm filming this on November 5th. It has been exactly 1 month since Trench has come out. I haven't done a video where I'm just like sitting here talking in like so long. So as you guys know, I did a Trench reaction series where I did a first reaction to each individual song off the album, and some of you guys really liked them. Some of you guys I know were disappointed in my reactions to some of them because it was a first reaction and I was talking over the music and stuff. So that's what this video is for. It has been a month later. I've been listening to it non-stop in the car, so I've had time to digest, to let it all sink in, and now I'm going to be giving you my reaction to some of the lyrics now. I feel like I'll be driving in the car and I'll be like, oh man, I think this means this, I think this means this. So I finally got around to like writing what I feel down, and I'm going to be explaining that to you today. So we're going to go over most of the songs in Trench, not all of them, because I want this to not be a super long video either. So you know what, let's just get into it. All right, so going in order, we're going to start with Morph. So he talks about this above, under, and around. To me, I feel like above is heaven, under is hell, and then around is some type of in-between, because he calls above blind belief, which like heaven, that's self-explanatory. Hell or under is swore to sleep, and then around or the in-between is a scientific miracle. Heaven, hell, all that stuff's like not really scientifically proven, and it just kind of makes me think of the movie The Lovely Bones, where the like 13-year-old girl is stuck in the in-between. And another reason why it makes me think of that is because going down, he says, if I keep moving, they won't know, I'll morph to someone else. And then he also says like, I'm a ghost, because like I feel like ghosts or spirits that are stuck in some type of in-between, they cling on to things, they morph to something else, they keep running away because they don't want to face the fact of having to go to heaven or hell. Another thing that makes me think that it's about heaven and hell is because he says, for if and when we go above, so heaven, the question still remains, are we still in love, and is it possible we feel the same? Because that's like a question I've always had, like when I die and if I go to heaven, a big if, like am I gonna have the same thoughts and feelings and relationships as I do down here on earth? Like no one knows how heaven works is the thing. I guess like that's like kind of what he's saying. Another reason why I think this song is kind of about religion is because further down there's the line, he'll always try to stop me, that Nicholas Bourbaki. I tried reading the Wikipedia article about the Nicholas Bourbaki group, and okay, I'm a film major, like I don't understand math and science terms. It felt like I was back in school trying to read these words and just it was going in one ear and out the other, like nothing was processing or staying with me. So if anyone actually understands what the Bourbaki group did specifically, please comment down below or like send me whatever video or something you have about it, because I don't really know the full connection with this whole like Bourbaki thing besides like the zero with the slash through it. But he later on says like, so he'll always try to stop me. I feel like that has to do with science and religion. I feel like there's so many people who believe in science who are like, that thing in your religion is wrong because it cannot be proven by science. So that's like the scientists, and they'll always try to stop me and stop my beliefs. It would be really perfect if like the Bourbaki group did something where they were like against religion, or they were like scientifically proving religion. That would like work out perfect, but I just don't really know what they did. So someone please help me on that. Let's move on, kind of go quicker. Chlorine's kind of like a weird song, like I don't know. I looked it up. There is such a thing as chlorine poisoning. You can get poisoned from it, but your body also needs chlorine for like your muscles and your brain and all that to function. It makes me think of Tyler getting old. Like he's gonna be turning 30 here less than a month. Maybe he had like a chlorine deficiency problem, or just like some type of like iron levels were low. Like I mean that happens. Like my 18-year-old sister is having that problem right now. I mean this dude's 30. He talks about like where I kept my rebel red. I felt I was invincible. Like there's that whole saying where people think they're young and invincible and nothing is ever gonna happen to them and they're never gonna get sick. It makes me think of that. And he also says like, my body lives on lead. I love to hate the fight, but you in my life is like, I don't know, like I can't tell if he's talking about chlorine poisoning or chlorine deficiency, or maybe that's the gist of it. Sometimes too little of something is bad, but sometimes too much of something is bad. It just kind of makes me think of Tyler getting old. That's it. That's literally it. Some of these are not going to be too super deep, just letting you know. But not this one. Now we're on to Neon Gravestones. I know you guys were pretty disappointed in my first reaction to it, so I'm going to try to do it justice now. Neon Gravestones, we all know what it's about. Not going to get into that. So I'll say the first funny thing I thought about Neon Gravestones was the lyric, I want you to follow me down to the bottom underneath the insane asylum. Keep your wits about you while you got them, because your wits are first to go while you're problem solving. Whenever he said underneath insane asylum, automatically made me think of American Horror Story season 2, because there's like scenes underneath, and then it made me think of, this is just funny, this is not deep, but it made me think of the journalist character Lana, how like she went there trying to problem solve, trying to serve justice to this asylum, and then in the midst of it ended up losing her mind and whatnot. So like, I don't know, it just made me think of that. I thought it was funny. But let's get into the more serious topics of Neon Gravestones. It makes me think of celebrity death, and everyone's kind of already said that. I'm just gonna use Mac Miller for example, because he's a most recent death that I can relate to this. Once a celebrity is gone, their reputation does get boosted. If you guys actually, I just watched the Bohemian Rhapsody movie yesterday, and so many things about it made me think of this album. And so if I tie it in, I'm sorry, whenever Freddie Mercury died, Bohemian Rhapsody shot to #1 again. Their name kind of gets put back in the public light. So we have celebrations, we have memorials. You know, he has the lyric, how could he go if he's got everything? Because, you know, we always say like, oh, people who are privileged or if they're rich, like money, they can buy anything they want in the world. Like, what problems do they have? There's the saying, money can't buy happiness. The biggest thing I wanted to talk about was the line, I'll mourn for a kid but won't cry for a king. So the first time I heard that, it made me think of like a kid versus a king. I just thought that Tyler was talking about two different people. Like when he said kid, like I was thinking about kids who die in like shootings and how they didn't take their own lives. They didn't choose that. It made me think of like how that's something we mourn for, but like mourning for a king, mourning for someone who took their own life or something like that. Like that's what I thought he meant, but now I realize that's not. What I realize is that he's talking about the same person. The kid and the king are the same person, is what I'm saying. Because like for Mac Miller, for example, he's not saying that he's gonna mourn the celebrity side of Mac, the like rapper side, the ex-boyfriend of Ariana Grande side. He's gonna mourn for the kid that from Pittsburgh that used music and had talents. Like that's the kid he's gonna mourn, not the king side, not the inhumane, over celebrated side. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if I'm explaining it the right way, and I really don't want anyone to take any of this out of context, but what I'm just saying is that he's just thinking about it in a more humane type of way. He's not treating him like this person that is like not on the same level as everyone else, if that makes sense. So then let's talk about the last verse. So we all know that this last verse kind of has to do with mostly 13 Reasons Why a lot of people have been talking about it with, but also just in general, like the massive amounts of suicides and overdoses that we've had in the celebrity world. For now, let's stick to the 13 Reasons Why theory. So he says, you know, don't get me wrong, the rise in awareness is beating a stigma that no longer scares us. He goes on. And then he says, to use this mistake as a form of aggression, a form of succession, a form of a weapon, thinking I'll teach them. So in 13 Reasons Why, yes, it, you know, it did bring conversation into the mainstream light, but did it do it the right way? If you guys haven't seen the show or heard of the show, basically the main character uses taking her own life as a way of blame and like, I'll show you type of tactic, you know, a form of a weapon essentially. And Tyler's just saying that, you know, like, even though you brought up this discussion, which is great, like let's bring a new point of view in. That's not the only reason why someone feels the need to take their life, is to backstab other people or call other people out. And then he also says, just pleading it does not get glorified, because that was, glorified was the big word with 13 Reasons Why. Everyone kept saying it glorified suicide, it glorified it. So I think that definitely gave a nod that it was about the show. Moving on to the next song. So Cut My Lip, I feel like is a little bit about the music industry. If you guys read, I have the Trench CD right there. If you read in the booklet, Tyler thanks someone, I forget who. He thanks this person for like helping push the album, because again, in Bohemian Rhapsody, there's a whole scene where like they talk about the song Bohemian Rhapsody and the agency is like, no, this song's not gonna make any money. It's not gonna be a good song. Whereas Queen, they are like, you know, listen, like we wanna do something musical. We want it to have opera and musicality and like theater-esqueness. That's not a word. And I feel like that's what Tyler is like. 21 Pilots is not a like mainstream sound. But of course, agencies aren't gonna care about that. They care about the cha-ching, the money, because they're the ones dishing out the money. So of course they want to make sure that they're going to get a profit back. So that's why they sometimes want to stick to a formula, stick to what's popular, whereas I feel like 21 Pilots, that's just not them. And because that's not them, that's why they're popular. The reason I think this song is about that is because he says, I keep on going back, even though it's me I abuse, like going back to the music, even though it helps him, and just the industry and stuff kind of abuses him. Isn't what I want, blood is on my tongue, I cut my lip. I think that isn't what I want kind of thing kind of is like, you know, it's like, oh, I'm gonna keep drinking from this cup, you know, like music, but it's like not exactly what I want. And also too, he says, you know, I don't mind at all, lean on my pride, lean on my pride. Pride meaning like, you know, like he says I'm a lion, so he's meaning like pride as a collective group of lions. So I think he's talking about the clique, like, you know, he's like, okay, I don't need you, I have the pride, so like, and I will keep getting bruised, keep getting, you know, fought and whatnot, but as long as I'm doing this for the clique and stuff, like it's all gonna be okay. That's just kind of why I think of that song. It's also one of my favorites now. It's kind of between that and Chlorine. Those are my two bangers of the album, if you guys are curious. So moving on to Bandito, that one I kind of have just like a little thing. You know, he says like in it, this is the sound we make when in between two places, where we used to bleed and where our blood needs to be. I feel like that's just talking about Ohio and California. When I say California, I'm assuming California because we know Josh has a house in LA. And also like that's just like where the music industry is. So I feel like he might just be talking about, could be like the differences between him and Josh, or just like the differences between them as like an Ohio band and them as like a internationally known band. So I like this line, like nicknames they give themselves to uninspire. I feel like he's like talking about the Bishops, but in a real world setting. I feel like he's talking about people who like rappers or just performers who give themselves stage names, because like giving themselves like a cool stage name like Freddie Mercury, you know, it makes them, I guess, kind of like inhumane, just like a character, more of a character than like a human. I feel like he's just like, no, I need to be myself. Even though Tyler does play characters, deep down it's always him. All right, so that's all I had for that. Next is Pet Cheetah, which like I'm like kind of impressed at myself for this one. I feel like this is like a really good theory slash find. Let's just talk about this lyric first. He says, I am on an island, no one to confide. I feel like this song in general is just talking about writing songs, making the album. So the island is kind of like his studio and kind of being like alone for clarity. In Bohemian Rhapsody, they did that. They went to a farm for clarity to write their album, just saying. So I feel like that was kind of like his way of his writing process. 8 days straight, 8 hours each and not one line. That's just basically saying him being alone. I can feel pressure start to possess my mind. Talking about the pressures of the industry and if the clique will still like him and all that stuff. The final one is what made me think of it. So I'll take this beat I should delete to exercise. Okay, if you guys watched the Beats One interview, that Zane Lowe guy interviewing Tyler in his home studio, he asks them about heathens for some reason. I forget why. Tyler says, yeah, like they wanted me to write a love song for Suicide Squad, and I was like, no, because that's just not them. He talked about how the only reason he said yes to doing a song for the movie was because he wanted to use it as a way to exercise songwriting, because he hadn't done it in a while, because this was like between Blurryface and like the end of that area. That's so crazy that like he happened to say the word exercise in an interview and it links to this song, because Pet Cheetah is one of the like weirder songs. It's kind of like the lane boy of the album, so it kind of makes me think of like he kind of just like made this beat. He wasn't sure if it was like gonna make the cut essentially, because I'm sure there's tons of songs, lyrics, beats, melodies that don't make the cut that Tyler has made. So I feel like this song is just talking about those, like, is this just an exercise, or like is this actually good enough to make the cut? The other reason I also think that it connects with that is because they literally mention Jason Statham in the song, and he's an actor in the movie Suicide Squad. I feel like Pet Cheetah was probably written, maybe the beat for Pet Cheetah was supposed to be the beat for Heathens, who knows? But like they're definitely correlated somehow. And then also another thing that interests me is I was reading the lyrics and I was like, I don't know what this word means. So he says, get behind me, I bet this nepotistic mindset will help us get ours as we're growing. And then it goes on, says this click means so much to me, it can make him afraid of his music and be scared to death if he loses it. The word nepotistic means favoritism shown on the basis of family relationship, so not mattering about their ability or talent. I feel like Tyler, by using that word, was saying, yeah, there's gonna be like people in the clique who are gonna like come back and listen to us even if we put out like a really bad record. There's just some fans that don't matter if the music's good or not, they're always going to be loyal. Whereas there's some people who are gonna be like, nope, this album's not good, I'm not listening to it. So I feel like he was just, I need to make sure this music's good. I can't rely on just loyalty from the clique. Like I have to make sure it's good, which kind of goes into the whole like exercising thing. Like, is this making the cut? Is this not? So that's why it all wraps together. But yeah, Pet Cheetah. The word Pet Cheetah, I don't really know where that comes from. The only thing I can think of is like living a fast-paced life, like cheetah. I don't know. I didn't see the movie. Is there a cheetah in the Suicide Squad movie? And so for the final one, which is what I clickbaited this video with. So, Leave the City. I literally can't listen to that song without crying because it makes me so upset. I was excited for this album because I thought it was going to be more involved with Josh. Like I thought there was going to be more connection between the two, but part of me feels they're more distant than ever. And like not in a bad way. They are growing up. Tyler's married. Josh is, I'm assuming, dating Debbie Ryan again. They live in two different places. They just have two different worlds, and I don't think that's weird. Like at the end of the day, they're friends, but they're also co-workers, and it's good to have like separate lives. But I feel like this album is a little more Tyler oriented than I thought it was gonna be. Like I was definitely expecting more Josh out of this. And in turn, it kind of makes me think of the end of 21 Pilots. And I got really sad one day. It made me think of like, oh my gosh, like I've been to 6 21 Pilots concerts and like one of them's gonna be the last. It could be because they break up, it could be because one of them dies, or heaven forbid I die. Obviously because like he says over and over, they know that it's almost over. Like they literally say that again and again. But also like in the beginning, Tyler talks about tending to a fire. I feel like that means like he's talking about music. Music was once an escape for him, a coping mechanism for him. Now it's a job. It's just like the idea, and they say this in Bohemian Rhapsody as well. Freddie Mercury talks about how life becomes a little boring, where it's like album tour, chorus verse. I feel like Tyler's just ready to settle down. I already said he's turning 30 in a month. Also, I've talked about the possible theory about him and Jenna having a kid, which is totally untrue. I don't know if I mentioned this anywhere, but basically I feel like when he says I wish she knew you in Legend, I think he's talking about his nieces. I mean, it makes more sense. But anyways, back to the song. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's like time for them to move on. I mean, they've been doing a lot of things separately. Like during the hiatus, Josh would do stuff with like the AP Music Awards and whatnot, and then Tyler just did a BBC cover, and it was like just him. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like acoustic, like just him on the piano, but I don't know, that was kind of weird. And then we all know about the weird, like in the Heathens music video behind the scenes, wherever he talks about Josh having a house in LA and not inviting him over. I don't know, that's reading into it. That is really reading into it. And that's like their personal life. I don't need to know. But then he says, in time, I will leave the city. So it's not yet, but in due time. I feel like he's preparing us for it. But then he says at the end, they know what I mean. But like, do we know what he means? Like if we knew what he meant, I wouldn't be sitting here making this video. If you guys have any theories about what he actually does mean, please comment below, because I don't know, I want to start a discussion if we really think 21 Pilots is ever going to end, or if you think, I don't know, like I don't think like Josh would ever quit. I don't know if they would ever attempt to do anything like on their own. I'm like really stumped, to be honest with you. All I know is I don't like listening to that song because that's all I can think about. Pause. I don't know where I'm gonna pause this, but this is the thing on Instagram that I wanted to share. So I found this a few weeks ago, like right after filming this video. It's just a screenshot and it's from an anonymous person. This is not a credible source is what I'm saying, but I'm gonna read it to you anyways. It says, I need it out there. Can't say who I am because I must remain anonymous, but I work with a team at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, and some 21 Pilots crew spilled a lot of info with us, which like I can understand understand if you like overheard something, but like there's no way that 21 Pilots crew is gonna tell someone like an arena worker or something, especially when they know that this band's fans look into everything. So it continues on saying Trench is part 1 of a trilogy, which I kind of believe. That goes back to that whole freaking Facebook post. I keep going back to this where they said, like, I don't even remember what they said, part 1 of 3 or part 2 of 3 or something like that. We did get like those 3 music videos that all kind of connected with each other. So I don't know. That would be really cool if this was a trilogy. Like, I would low-key want that to happen. But then it goes on saying part 2 or album 2 is named Turbulence, which, okay, like I don't believe any of that. The next album is expected to be released mid-year next year, so I'm assuming 2019. And it says part 3 in a similar sense will be released in 2020. It all revolves around this Bandito story, and the Bandito tour will continue to run on for all 3 of these years as these new albums release. I don't know about that. After the last confetti falls in 2020, 21 Pilots will go on a serious and formal hiatus. Trust me and watch it happen. So I don't believe this to a point. I mean, you guys saw me talk about the song Leave the City and it's about 21 Pilots eventually ending. I don't know when. I don't think it's in 2020. But I definitely think it's soon. I definitely think it's gonna be like after the next album. It's December 21st now. Tyler just turned 30, so I mean, I don't know how long he's gonna last as a band member touring and stuff. The reason I wanted to share this with you is because I kind of just I want other people to know about it, because something similar happened in the YouTube world. So if you guys know David Dobrik, Liza Koshy, David and Liza broke up in January, but didn't announce it to the world until June of this year. And apparently there is a small Twitter account that only has like, I mean, I looked it up, they're real. This Twitter account only has like 70 tweets or something like that. And back in February, they tweeted out something saying like, I know someone in the vlog squad, but I can't say anything. But basically, you know, David and Liza are broken up and they're keeping it hush hush because of management, you know, because they were a public couple. They probably were trying to be strategic about how to go about everything. It was crazy how that account was right. So I don't want to think anything of that, but because I've witnessed anonymous accounts being right before about things, that makes me just question everything. I mean, I really don't know if the whole trilogy thing and the ending by 2020 thing is true, but I don't know. It's just something to think about. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. Back to the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it was a little more in-depth than some of my other videos, but that's what it was all about. I wanted to kind of let things sink in. So please subscribe for more 21 Pilots videos. I still have a couple more ideas, but if you guys didn't see, I already posted my Bandito tour vlog, which was super fun to make. It's like probably my absolute favorite video, so I'll link that at the end. Please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for when I post a video next. Thank you guys so much for watching. See ya. Bye.